The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Friday, the 17th day of March, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamel Hartman. She's Sancha Durham. And Tamara McHale will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sister Sancha, how are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I can't say too much. I'm here, my sister. I am here.
You know, I'm feeling like Sherry. I'm happy on this Friday.
You're happy on a Friday? That's not.
Yeah, I feel like you haven't seen me in a while on a Friday.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. This is true. Sherry's usually here getting the answers wrong. Yeah, this is very true.
What day is Fridays? What day? Trivia day.
Huh?
What trivia day? What type of trivia do we do on Friday?
I'll tell you in a second.
So,
I just forgot. I just forgot. It's no things you should know.
Things I should know.
Things you should know.
By Jamal's standards.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, yeah, you haven't done one. Yeah, because Larry and Sherry have done pretty good. You haven't done one in a while since, was it the Mojito Day or something?
I don't know. I cannot remember the last time I've done a Friday. Normally, Fridays are my day. You know, it's the only day that I spend the entire day at nail bar. So I'm so happy to wake up and I feel like I'm going to work. And so I always try not to do a Friday because, you know, I try to get there early. And so here I am. Yeah,
but when Sherry doesn't, you want to show up to work, I have to say, Sandra, please. Sandra, please. You know what I'm saying? Tanya Cheeseman, good morning to you. Happy Friday to you. Sister Sherry. You heard what Sandra was saying about you, right, Sister Sherry? Yeah. Who's St. Patrick? Everybody's talking about, like, is it his birthday today or something? Who's St. Patrick?
Patrick's Day today.
That's like the Irish thing, right? Where people like drink green beer and stuff. Okay. Well, I mean, we're not Irish, but I think, you know, most Bermudians, if they have the UK passport, it does say something about Northern Ireland. So, I mean, you know, you guys can celebrate Irish history if you'd like, but I'm good. And Sherry says she does very well in the trivia. I'm neither going to confirm or deny that. Anyway, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Dr. Eve DeRosa. She's stopping by. We're discussing aging and the brain. So very informative conversation. I'm looking forward to it. I love this show for these kind of conversations. You know, most of us just don't know what's going on in our bodies. We may feel like we look a certain way, feel a certain way, but it's usually experts that tell us what's really going on. So looking forward to this. The Daily Play is a things you should know. And yeah, things you should know, Sancha.
Okay.
Yeah. Folks, make sure.
Like I said, things I should know by Jamal's standards.
I didn't create the game, so I'm just saying, folks, make sure you subscribe to our website and follow us on social media to stay up to date for all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to improve our community. But before we bring our guest on for the conversation a bit later, folks, we've got to have a discussion. So earlier this week, we spoke a bit about social media. I mentioned this situation with Gary Lineker. He's a football commentator or broadcaster or presenter, however you want to call it, over in the UK. And he was pretty much taken off air last week by BBC because he had made some political statements against the government. and his colleagues actually fell in line with him and boycotted. So they didn't have one of their biggest shows on BBC Sport, which is Match of the Day last week. And this argument came up that people should be able to say what they want, freedom of expression and speech on their social media, without being, I guess, punished by their employer, which I think there's a very thin line, because when people know you from your job and you do something out in public, it does kind of, it's a thin line. I'm sure you would agree, Sancha. So question of the morning is very simple, folks. We live in an age where social media is most dominant.
Mm-hmm.
It's most dominant. It's dominant in a respect that there are people that really develop their opinions based on what they read on social media, based on what they see on social media. Like there's no standard of journalism on social media almost, right? There was a time where it was like verified accounts. Now that's not even something that separates some nowadays, because you can actually pay for verification on certain platforms now, right? We live in a time where, you know, I don't want to, I can't remember Mark Bean's quote directly, but almost as if everything that we were taught was right is wrong, and everything that we were taught was wrong was right. And our go-to place for information is the internet, and in turn, social media. I'm guilty of it. I'm going to let you know. When it comes to sports, I'm literally, that's why I have Twitter. I joined Twitter some years ago, simply, Sancha, because I wanted to instant information about football. I wanted to know what the players were saying after game, and they would use their own account. So it's taking us closer. But we have challenges, especially in a small community like Bermuda. We discussed earlier this week revenge porn, right? WhatsApp is a form of social media. People sharing things in their videos and pictures and so on. And there have been quite a few articles about, you know, being more responsible as we use these applications. So I'm gonna share some things with you. But the question of the morning is, how can we encourage more responsible social media use? And folks, let me be clear with this. This is not about young people, because some of the biggest culprits of using social media irresponsibly are adults. Just look at, like, if you go on Facebook, just look at the Madges list and it's a parking group on there. That, like, these groups, I mean, they're entertaining but interesting. And one thing I will say with before Sancha jumps in is this right here. I was always told that once you put something on the internet, it's always there, right? Now, you all know I'm outspoken. I say pretty much a lot of what I think. Not all, trust me. But in a small place like Bermuda, I think we can be, as a collective, very reckless, and then wonder why such and such. So that's the question of the morning. How can we encourage more responsible social media use? What are your thoughts, Sancha? I mean, you're an employer too.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking as you were talking, I was like, do I tell them that when I'm about to hire someone, I look for the social media?
Mm. Mm.
I do. I think that we have to remember, as you said,
Mhm.
everything that is put on the internet. Like I say all the time, I am so grateful that I grew up in a time where we could live in the moment.
Mm.
We're living in a time where it's like this instant gratification, and the amount of time we spend on our phones on social media
Mm.
watching this lie of a life
Mm.
that people are living, and we're trying to live up to those standards. And um even just knowing that what you post will stay there, your opinions, your those things will stay there. And I know you said, it's not about the kids, but just the other day I had a talk with my niece. She had posted a picture of her friend on her social media that I didn't feel like was very friendly,
Mhm.
right? And I had to explain to him, like, you do realize that you guys are like 15, right?
Mm.
In a few years, you're going to be out there looking for internships, for jobs, and imagine someone coming across this video of your friend. Like,
Mm.
you're not gonna like they think it's funny and
Mhm.
it's cute and but that lives with you. And I guess my point is not really what you post, it's what other people post of you as well,
Mhm.
right? You have to be very careful what you're putting out there, the image that you're projecting,
Mm.
because it stays with you. And then I was reading an article yesterday, whereas we're saying that these videos could be used in court.
Mm.
So things that you now have to prove, no, sorry, that was just for my social media. It's not that, it's really this. Like,
Mm.
we have to be mindful of what we're putting out there.
Yeah, indeed, and a lot of what you said, it's so interesting because I think for the most part, we don't consider it. We don't consider it. We don't consider that some things that we say and share can be used in court, in the court of law, for and against us, right? But the key is against us. I just want to read something. It's from Reader's Digest, right?
Hmm.
So they just give a breakdown of like 13 social media etiquette rules you really need to stop breaking. 13. And folks, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts for more responsible social media use? And again, this is as much about adults as it is children. Number one, don't say it online if you wouldn't say it in person.
Bingo. I am a strong believer of that. Like, so many people hide behind social media because they wouldn't say it or shout it from the rooftops. And it's just like, if you do not have to say it in public, don't put it on social media because you're not that person.
Sancha, I think there are people who have literally made their life on social media, meaning you don't even know if they're real people. You've never seen them in person. They literally live behind a computer screen. They built small social media companies. They've done certain things. Like, is this who you are? Or like, are you a real person? Right. So I'm with you. The next one says, don't behave differently online than you would in person. Oh, I've seen many of that. Many of that. Um, Here's the one that really gets me. Don't tag indiscriminately. Just tagging people, like there are people who tag me and stuff.
And you look at it and you're like, why am I tagged in
It
this?
has nothing to do with me or
What,
interest.
what
But this,
relevance is
this
it?
is a key right here, Sandra. This one right here. And audience, this one's gonna get you, right? Don't engage with trolls. You know that what's that saying? How's it go? If there were two fools arguing, how do we tell the difference? Like if it was a fool, or if you argue with a fool, how does someone know the difference? Something to that nature, folks. You know what I mean. But anyway, don't engage the trolls. And I've had to learn that. I've had to learn that there are going to be people who want to take you there, and you've just got to ignore them. Folks, I want to hear from you before I finish this list. How can we encourage more responsible social media use? I mean, we can go there about politics as well. Carla John, interesting comment. She says, folks might be surprised at how often their posts get reported to HR. Let me just say this. If my posts were ever reported to HR, I wanted them to be. There's nothing I'm going to say on social media that I would not say in my office to anyone. There's nothing I would say on social. I don't like subliminals.
Yeah.
The only subliminals I send is really to Manchester United. I don't know why, because I could just be very direct with them, but there's the only subliminals. But I don't believe in subliminals. Like, I say what you have to say. That's why I don't do the anonymous stuff. Tanya Cheeseman says people's interpretation of a picture varies. So putting an innocent picture up can be interpreted the wrong way. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. I mean, people's interpretation of a post varies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I always say, to people who say numbers don't lie, numbers may not lie, but they can definitely tell various stories.
Yeah.
It happens in politics all the time. Let's go back to the list. So again, this is a list on Reader's Digest. 13 social media etiquette rules you really need to stop breaking. All right. So we just said don't publicly engage trolls. Create a separate account for your business contacts. Well, I have LinkedIn for that. But I don't, I mean, I don't know, Sandra, a separate Facebook account or Twitter account. I mean, at this point, my social media is business. I don't really put anything personal. I mean, my personal life's not that fun. You know what I mean?
I know. I can see that. I can see where they're going with that one. I can say, you know what? As I get older, when I was younger, and the extent of my social media, I know every time we talk about social media, I say I need to get better. But I don't post on Instagram anymore unless I really, really think about it. I'm a person that lives in the moment. The
Mm.
extent of my social media, as you know, I post on my WhatsApp status all the time.
She just don't respond. Go ahead.
But I would block certain people from seeing my post when I was younger. Now I'm in a space where I don't even care. Like, you're in my contacts, you're gonna see it. But
Mm.
I can see that. So it was certain people, I'm like, you know what? You're more of a business associate. This is my private line. I
Mhm.
don't need you to see me posting my kid at
Mhm.
his birthday party, you know? But
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I got you. Folks, what are your thoughts? How can we encourage more responsible social media use? You know, I spoke at the Digital Leadership Conference a few years ago, back in 2021. My message to the young people was, as much as social media is for fun and entertainment, find a way to make it work for you. Find a way to make it work for you. You know what? I'm always preaching to everyone, not just young people, but find ways to make LinkedIn work. It's interesting when people say that LinkedIn's just a Facebook for business. And I'm just like, I don't know what that means. I
Mhm.
don't know what that means. It's like saying that Instagram's just a Facebook with just video and pictures. Like, it's social media. There's going to be similarities. But I just want people to don't let the internet or social media get the best out of you. Take advantage of the opportunities that exist for you, the individual. All right, get back to 13 social media things that you need to follow for better social media etiquette. Don't try to friend people you don't know. Ugh. I was in this stage where I would, accept everyone, or I would send a request to someone that I'm, is friends with a friend and whatnot. But I really can't stand getting like requests from people I just don't know. I'm sorry. Senja, I'm talking about like you live in Louisiana. We ain't got no mutual contacts, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that kind of stuff. It's weird. Like, on LinkedIn, it's more interesting. Like I had a lady in Kenya and someone in Thailand, I think, reach out. And unless they send a message like, hey, da da da, or something like that, and I get an idea, then I'm not gonna connect. I don't need my ego does not need a whole bunch of followers and connections. I'm not that person.
But I was just going to say that comes from, remember when social media, and even actually, I was going to say when it first started, but no, still today, when you talk about certain people's account to validate them, what's the first thing they say? How many followers do they
It's
have? What
ridiculous.
is their reach? It's just like, you really,
Yeah.
don't have to have. And sometimes I see these numbers and they're like, this person has 52K
Mhm.
followers. Like, do they really, or did they buy those followers?
There you go. And followers are really all about the time you get into a social media app. So you've got someone who may have 3,000 followers on a certain platform, and they only have those 3,000 followers because they got in that app early. It doesn't mean they're influenced or anything of that nature. I think social media has things messed up. Well, has people messed up thinking that the amount of connections or followers equates to your influence, and it really doesn't. Here's another one. This is a key, folks. Stay offline when you're angry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That note to self: stay offline when you're angry.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a big one. I
yeah,
think when I see people that post because they're enraged, I always wonder to myself, how are they going to feel in 3 days after that post has been captured and sent around to any and everybody, like, oh,
mhm,
look, because you only become a spectacle. You only become a conversation for people's entertainment. And they
and
really don't care about the thing you're raging about.
Correct.
It's your rage that gets the attention.
Yeah. Folks, let us know. How can we encourage more responsible social media use? Michelle White, she says, people need to understand that social media is an extension of you, the person. It is open to the world, business or personal. It is also open to the reader or watcher's interpretation. If there is the smallest possibility for misinterpretation, don't post it. That includes chatting with trolls. Manuela John says there are some public/business places where the password is posted. A statement can be posted with that to encourage responsible use of social media. I like that. Yeah, a lot of businesses have their Wi-Fi passwords up. Michelle White also says, before you friend someone, look at their profile, even if you don't know them. I've had strangers want to connect them, and looking in their profile, they only have one photo of themselves since 2017 and nothing else. Nope, that is a problem in my book and get deleted.
I'm like, how did you find me? What brought you to me?
Another one on Reader's Digest is take screenshots responsibly. Take screenshots responsibly. A screenshot is a snapshot of your device's screen, email, text message, DMs. When you're texting or emailing someone, the assumption is that it's between the two of you. Meaning respect your people's privacy and their trust. Don't post photos of someone without permission. This is key. Because I post videos of you guys all the time without your permission, but you're already on the internet. You're already on the show. So, but no, it's true. It's true. I legit, someone tagged me in a picture the other day, and I'm just like, why? I was like, that picture of all the, and I don't care. I am who I am, but I'm just like, you couldn't have said, Jamal, how you, anyway. But
people really take this to heart. And I didn't understand it. And I also think it's a confidence thing, right? And security thing. I'm a person I really don't care what picture. If it's out there, then it's out there for a reason. But I had a friend where we took a picture and she really didn't like it. And I had posted it. And it became and I had to like kind of reel it in and be like, you know what, Sandra, you have to respect other people's feelings.
Yeah, that's it. Just respect. If they don't want it. Yeah. I mean, don't post.
You may not understand it.
Last few real quickly as we got to the news break. Also, don't forget to fact check. This is important. Fact checking, folks. Make sure the information is correct. Unless it's this show and we can pretty much, come back and say, you know what, that was an error, but we do our best to share the facts. Share responsibly. Share responsibly. You don't need an update every 5 minutes, by the way, folks. You don't need a tweet. Some people tweet so much, I'm like, do they have a job? Maybe their job's tweeting. Don't post when you've been drinking.
One.
It's like drunk dialing, apparently. How about if you're high? And look, this is the final one. Just because you can post doesn't mean you should. Just because you can post doesn't mean you should.
I need to say something to this. So admittedly, Jamal, and you're probably going to push me from here if I say this, I'm nervous to tweet. I'm like, do people really want to hear this? So I would type something and then I delete it. And then it just goes in my head and I put it in another space. So yeah, that I don't know. I'm like, I've probably tweeted once since I've had Twitter. I read tweets, but I'm like, nobody wants to hear this. And I don't.
You may have a very good opinion on your team or your parenting, your son. I think Twitter's just about expressing your opinions. Like for me, I just like to go off about my football team, ex-football team. They're still my ex-football team, and politics every now and then. I share an opinion, but no, for me, it's about engaging and connecting. But let's bring Tamara McHale in. Folks, don't forget, we have Dr. Eve DeRosa coming up. We're talking about aging in the brain. This is a very good conversation. Really hope that you share it with your friends, your family, and your WhatsApp groups. This is using social media responsibly, sharing important conversations with your friends and family so that we can learn more. It should be very informative, so stick with us.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning and happy Friday to you.
Friday.
how's things going on here? And
Interesting.
do you use social media responsibly?
Your internet's in
I
and out.
think, based on everything that you just said, I think social media user.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. She thinks she uses it responsibly. Well, let's just say, you know, she used it more responsible than Sancha as far as Twitter, because you got to use Twitter to use it responsible. But anyway, actually that's not true. Sancha probably used it responsible by not tweeting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
nobody could come and tell you that I had an irresponsible tweet because I think about it.
This is very true. This is very true. All right, Tamara, what you got for us today?
But I'm like afraid when it comes on to the photos though. Like for me, I'm a little picky, so I don't want any photo of me out. I'm like, oh, my hair looks
No, I
something
get
like
you.
that.
I get you. I am who I am, but still, like, I'm like, why choose the worst of the worst? But whatever. I'm a guy. Don't matter to me.
Yeah, I know. All right, this is the Daily Hour News Break for today, Friday, March 17, brought to you by the People's Pharmacy. So, starting things off, 4 people have been arrested after warrants were executed at a business and residences, and a container shipment and cannabis with an estimated street value of Bermuda $1.9 million was seized. So, according to a police spokesperson on Wednesday, the BPS conducted the joint operation, and that is where they found the loot. So, investigations are ongoing into that incident.
Woo!
What? So $1.9 million of marijuana?
Woo!
Somebody walks past me,
Yup.
right, with marijuana in their pocket. I can smell it. I'm like, what is that smell? Could you imagine walking past that container?
1.9 minutes. Somebody was about to build a mansion. I mean, houses are much more expensive in Bermuda. But honestly, I say that. But the Bermuda Police Service, I mean, I don't know what's happening over the last couple of years, but they have done an incredible job in this respect. So props to them and the public. And yeah, that's all I have to say on it.
Indeed. All right, so in news, the Bermuda Tour BTA has debuted the House of Bermuda at the Hoxton Southwark in England, which is said to offer an immersive experience with local Bermudan experts. So, according to a spokesperson, BTA has officially debuted the House of Bermuda exclusively for trade, media, and consumers in the UK market. And the unique immersive experience from the BTA leans into the award-winning Lost Yet Found campaign by, of course, by the BTA. So they're taking guests on this journey to get to learn about Bermuda. And also they said they want guests to take advantage of British Airways direct flights from London's Heathrow Airport that started on March 17th. So this House of Bermuda is going to be opened until tomorrow. So yeah, that's what's happening in the UK with Bermuda.
Well, I'll say this much about that because I have an opinion about this. The last time they did something like this was in Miami, and a couple of weeks later they announced the Miami flight's going to be discontinued in the summer months. I'll say this much: I know a lot of people had complaints about this on Twitter yesterday, and I tweeted right before this came out, just said, I think majority of Bermudians know why Bermuda's tourism product is failing. The problem is that we continue to overpay the wrong people to fix Bermuda's tourism problems. I'll leave it at that.
Right. And this Saturday, March 18, the Ministry of Youth, Culture and Sport will showcase the annual Bermuda Sports Awards at the Hamilton Princess. So a government spokesperson said several awards will be presented, including Male and Female Athletes of the Year, Junior Male and Female Athletes of the Year, Special Distinction in Sports, and much more. So according to the Minister of Youth, Culture and Sport, Senator Owen Darrell, he said that the award seeks to recognize the distinguished achievements of Bermudian athletes from 2022.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And also happening the ER Fisheries and Foods They've been having a lobster fest from March 13th to the 18th. So that's up until tomorrow. It's been going on all week at their store location in St. David, celebrating the end of the lobster season. So discounts are available on lobsters and all lobster related products for online and in-store purchases. So go out, support, enjoy, and eat up some nice lobster.
Hey, big up to y'all fisheries. Folks, go check it out. Remember, lobster season ends this month. So lobster season in Bermuda, remember, it's all of the R months except April. Get out there, go check them out. It ends tomorrow.
Yes.
It ends tomorrow. Go check ER Fishers down there in St. David's. Get yourself a lobster. All right? Have one for me too.
All right, so quickly to some other regional news here in Jamaica. I had mentioned this earlier that the government had intended to increase the national minimum wage, which is essentially the basic amount that an employee can pay an employer. So the Prime Minister announced yesterday in Parliament during his budget debate presentation that it will be increased from 9,000 Jamaican dollars to 13,000 Jamaican dollars, which is about $85 per 40-hour work week, effective June 1. And this is a 44% increase and said to be the largest in 20 years. So I guess that's some good news there, especially for the lower paid employees.
Is it election season?
And finally, election it's constitutionally due in about a year or year to two. So yeah, you do find a lot of polls and campaigning and all of that starting to build up because it can be called earlier.
Gotcha.
And finally, CNN Travel in its most monthly ticket travel series listed Dominica among the 25 most beautiful places in the world when thinking about making those travel plans. So CNN in its report noted that Dominica is known as, quote, the nature island for a reason, and went on to describe its rainforest, hot springs, and beaches. So yeah, Dominica, and I checked out the list and I only saw Dominica was the only Caribbean island on this recent list. So let's look forward to upcoming list. Hopefully we can see the Jamaica or Bermuda.
It's definitely a beautiful island. It is, I will say. How's the weather looking today?
All right, in terms of the weather in Bermuda, early cloudy spells with a few showers. Things will become brighter later in the day. You'll also have some winds, a high of near 20 degrees Celsius, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And here in Jamaica, it's been isolated showers across eastern parishes, elsewhere partly cloudy.
All right, and what's the day of the year? Give us something good today, Sister Sancha.
I was going to give you St. Patrick's Day, and then I was like, Jamal's going to be like, Sancha, seriously? So, today is World Sleep Day. Sleep may seem like such a normal aspect of life that may seem silly to even talk about. It can be one of the most underrated aspects of people's lives, but those who have reoccurring sleep problems, getting enough sleep can be a real challenge and affect everything else in their life. World Sleep Day aims to consider and aid those who have sleep problems. It is useful for educating people all over the world about the importance of sleep, as well as changing the way people view and experience sleep by giving them valuable resources to help their daily lives.
You know, it was a time when, people who took care of themselves well and got sleep were called lazy and just people misunderstood it. Now it seems like no, sleep is a necessary component to a real healthy and successful life, right?
Yeah, I needed this day to just reflect. I get horrible sleep, Jamal. Horrible. Like I go to sleep, I jump up, I think it's because my brain needs to rest.
We're going to talk about that, how important sleep is for the brain. Yeah. How about you, Tamara? Are you a good sleeper?
Yeah, I can easily knock out anywhere, anytime.
I can't sleep during the day. I get it's so many prerequisites to my sleep patterns.
How about you guys? Do you guys go to sleep on the airplane?
Every time.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Every time.
I've met people recently who say they just can't sleep on an airplane. Me? man, as soon as I sit in my seat, they say the door's closed and give those instructions about, the thing coming down if anything happens. Your boy is out. Your boy is out.
Until right?
Somebody bothers me talking about, oh, can I, squeak by you to use the bathroom? I'm like, I'm out. But I wonder though, because there are people who just can't sleep on an airplane. Folks, let us know in the audience. Do you go asleep on the airplane tomorrow? Thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, folks, do not go anywhere. We have Dr. Eve DeRosa. We're coming up. We're talking about the brain. I love this conversation, but let us know in the audience during the commercial break whether or not you sleep on an airplane. I'm interested to know how many of you get rest on an airplane. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you. Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
Her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Sancha Durham. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, make sure you subscribe to our website and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to improve the community. You just saw Jamel Hartman Unscripted returns this Sunday. I'll be sitting down with Rashida Godwin, more personal about her journey from working in the corporate international business sector to entrepreneurial freedom and freedom in a space that is risky per se. So you don't want to miss that. If you haven't already, just go search my name, Jamel Hartman, on YouTube, and or you can just go jamelhartman.com. The show will be live on my website as well, jamelhartman.com. So check it out. But without further ado, we're having a very important, real quickly, let's go to the audience. We asked how many people sleep on the airplane, Sancha. And
everyone.
Ebony Souza says, Sam Tamara, don't threaten me with a nap, LOL. Charmaine Richardson said, yes. Yup, Tanya Cheeseman. Shonette Bell said, sleep before plane takes off. Definitely, Renee Simmons says. Diane Elliott says, most definitely. Traveling Trotty, well, you travel so often, says, I sleep with ease on a plane. She has to, right? Manuela John says, sometimes I am asleep before takeoff. Nicole Walker says, only short naps. I just can't sleep anywhere, especially with a bunch of strangers. And Pamela Wade, she says, yes, I'm like you, Jamel. As soon as I sit down, I'm out. I wonder if it's healthy to take naps and just to sleep on an airplane. We're going to find out. Let's add that question to it. But without further ado, let's bring our guest for the day. We have Dr. Eve DeRosa. Folks, give her a warm TDH welcome like we do. Good morning, and welcome. How are you, Dr. DeRosa?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Well, first off, I read some of your story, and I'll let you tell it. But it was quite great. Like it was, congrats. First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
You've been elected as Dean of Faculty at Cornell University. And for those who don't know, Cornell is one of the 8 Ivy League schools, I believe.
Right.
8. Yep, 8. So, and becoming the first woman and first person of color to hold the role in a prestigious university. I like that. Thank you, Sancha, for that research. Sancha prepares all my words, by the way. But no, this is an incredible accomplishment. But just tell the audience, those who may not know, a bit about your background and what it is that you do that led you to where you are.
Good morning, everyone. I want to say Happy World Sleep Day because when you get more than 5 hours of sleep, then you decrease your risk for dementia and Alzheimer's. So I want to say Happy World Sleep Day. So a little bit about myself. I am at Cornell, and I guess I study the brain, as all of you probably have figured out. And I study the chemistry of the brain, but recently I started to think more about how the chemistry of the brain is important to healthy aging and pathological aging. And so trying to get in there early so that we can help people and decrease their risk for dementia.
So how long have you been studying the brain and aging?
So I was at graduate school a long time ago, so I've been doing this for decades. And I did my graduate training at Harvard, and I did it in animal neuroscience. And there I was doing more of the brain surgery on the rats and manipulating the chemistry and just seeing how it changed how they attended to learned their memory performance. And then after that, I went to Stanford and I studied human neuroscience and took the data that I learned from the rats and applied it to humans. And then since then, I've been combining the two and now looking at how the chemistry, how we think, how we remember changes as we age.
So this conversation is important to me because I have parents that are now aging, and sometimes I look at them like, what is going on? But what are some of the changes that happen in the brain when a person starts to age?
So let's also be clear, as we age, well, look, we're aging from birth. So we're all aging. But as you get of a certain age, yes, there'll be some memory lapses and, maybe changes in sleep, appetite, mood, all of those things are normal. When it's not normal is when you forget to pay your bill for months or you just make really poor judgment. That's when you get to, be worried.
Okay, so what are some of those signs? You said when they start to forget stuff, but is it anything else that like stands out that is like, hey, this is a red flag that we should look out for?
Yeah, if somebody is having difficulty doing something that should be familiar to them, that's a problem. And when it's deep memory loss where they're not remembering who you are, of course. I mean, hopefully we get everybody to the doctor well before that stage. Just not being able to do their daily routine, keep track of the bills, shopping, things like that.
Are there any, I mean, we talk about the negative things. Are there any positive cognitive changes that can occur in the brain as we age?
Absolutely. One, wisdom. I think that's an important one. And as somebody who's towards that end, I'm going to say wisdom. But also, older adults are happier. If you ask an older adult and they come into our labs and you ask about their mood, they're generally happier than young people and more creative. So I think there are a lot of positives as we age.
Why do we think that happens? What makes them generally happier than the younger?
Well, we've shown in the lab that young brains are really good at staying on task. And older brains are less able to do that. We get more distracted. And it turns out that if you're more distracted, you're taking in more information into your brain, and then it has opportunity for those things to talk to each other and make you more creative, come up with creative solutions. And so that's part of what we think is going on.
Okay. What are some of the things that we can do to help with our cognitive health as we age?
Sleep. That's number one. Happy sleep day, everybody. But diet. So Bermuda is surrounded by ocean. We have fresh fish, the Mediterranean diet, a little bit of wine every day. It's just fine. All of those things are really good for diet. And fruit and vegetables, of course. Also, let's say, look, if you have high blood pressure, keep it under control because high blood pressure puts you at risk for dementia. Exercise. And honestly, we all know what to do. Taking care of our body is taking care of our brain. And this is something that I don't think people really appreciate, that the brain and the body are always checking in with each other. And that's actually some of the research that I do is looking at the chemistry of how the heart and the brain speak to each other. So taking care of your heart, exercise, good sleep, diet, and just, you know what I didn't talk about? Staying connected with friends and family. That's also another thing that puts you at less risk for dementia.
Honestly, I'm glad you said that because I have done a horrible job living outside of Bermuda. I've done a horrible job keeping in contact with friends and family. I mean, obviously, I can do this show, I can be on social media, but I think social media, as we spoke earlier, has actually not helped in that respect because we think because we're visible or they're visible, we're connected. But when was the last time we've had a conversation? How's things going? How's life? How's work? And I think it does take a toll because you're wondering, I wonder how they're doing.
So Jamel, I think you just hit it right on the head. Social media is an isolated thing. And we're learning now isolation, loneliness, all of the does harm. It actually stresses the body, it stresses the brain, and increases your risk. So you have to have a balance. So you can have the social media, but you have to partner that up with seeing family, seeing friends, and that brings your stress level down. And anything that reduces stress in the body, inflammation, all of those things are good for the brain and then protect you from dementia. I'm glad you said that.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
At what age would you say our brain is the sharpest?
Ooh, I'm going to say both and. So it depends on what you're trying to achieve. So things that need expert knowledge, then your brain's sharper as you age. But learning something new, then it's probably going to be better in your 20s. And so it depends on what you're trying to do. And I don't know if you guys saw the op-ed I wrote a couple of weeks ago. Part of what I was trying to argue is don't lose faith in us older people. Help us retrain and stay on point so that we can balance with young people sort of our wisdom, our social connection, and give that gift to them, and they can give us the gift of youth. So
yeah, I like that. Don't dismiss older people, folks. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Dr. DeRosa, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. Tamara McHale, she's asking, my grandma who passed last year had dementia, and she was very active and outgoing prior to getting it. So was she an exception?
No, she was not an exception. So part of when we were talking about signs, one of the signs that you can see somebody who is at risk or starting to become demented is they will withdraw socially, and you don't want that. And so if you see an older person who's starting to stop talking to family and friends, then you get them into the doctors. And I don't know if, is it Tamar? I don't know if your loved one started to lose their hearing or their sight. We now know if you don't correct that, then that also increases your risk. So there's no shame in wearing a hearing aid because it's going to protect you.
Indeed. Yeah. I know you spoke about it earlier when you were speaking about, cognitive health. And I guess, taking care of your body will help, it all connects with your brain and so on. But what are some other things, as well as exercise and sleep, that we can do to maintain a healthy brain? Like things, what's something that we generally just would not consider that you may say, no, we need to do this? Sleep being one of them, because again, like I said earlier, there was a time when I was growing up, I remember a guy said to me, I was 15 working a summer job construction, and I was tired. I had, not been in the sun and lifting bricks in my life. So I was tired. And to them, oh, young buck, what do you mean you're tired? You're going to get the day is going to come where you're going to be able to rest and no one's going to wake you up. And, you just kind of, we live in this time where this hustle culture is like what we're supposed to be. But what do you say to that kind of mindset?
Well, that was legit. Coming home exhausted with that job. When I'm talking about getting sleep, what people don't appreciate is sleep is restoration for your body and your brain. And so when you only getting 5 hours a night or less, then you're not giving your body or your brain opportunity to restore itself. And we've learned also, when you're in that deep REM sleep, when you're dreaming, then you're also you're sort of going through your day, and anything you learned that day is getting deeper and deeper into your memory system. And so sleep has a lot of physical restoration, but also it's really good for your mental health and also your memory.
And so we're talking about sleep, and you saw earlier some people were saying they take naps. I've heard that naps are not healthy, right? Is it true that we should be focusing on a long overnight sleep versus napping?
I'm going to say both and, as someone who loves naps. But naps are great. Power naps, you go deep down, and it actually turns out that it helps your memory as well. It's just as important. So there's no shame in napping. And you don't need to nap, especially if you're getting your 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours. But yeah, there's no shame in napping.
All right, we've got quite a few questions coming through. Michael Daniels asking, is brain speed a consideration that is important?
Brain speed? I'm going to say no. So we, younger adults, their brains are definitely going to be speedier, like being able to be more responsive, very quick with action and thoughts. And so as we age, we slow down. And that doesn't mean that we can't get to the answer. It doesn't mean that, that we're not intelligent. So yeah, speed isn't meaningful in that way.
All right. Shamari Talbot is asking, does fluoride impact brain function, or is that a myth? What are your thoughts on Lion's Mane supplements for brain health? Is there a true link between bad oral health and Alzheimer's / dementia, etc.?
Yes, there is. And that has more to do not with the fluoride, but the bacteria in your mouth. If you're not getting rid of the plaque, and the plaque can obviously cause cardiovascular issues and high blood pressure, but it also can affect how the gut is then communicating with the brain. And what I haven't shared is there's a nerve that talks to the body and the brain. It's called the vagus nerve. And so all of the microbiome and bacteria in your gut that's coming from the mouth, if it's not good, then that can affect your brain. And so it is true. There is a relationship. We don't know deeply the causation, but we know for a fact that there's a relationship between poor oral health and dementia.
Interesting. And Sancha and I have spoken before. We go to our 6-month checkups for our dentist. I believe, look, oral health is as important as heart and everything else for me. Like, you folks, you've got to go get your 6-month checkups. It's not just about what your teeth look like. You've just heard it. It's all about.
It looks good and feels good, and it's good for your health.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So Manuela Dawn, she's asking, is it helpful to engage a person with dementia in conversation and activities?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to continue to show love and engagement. All of those things are going to help. I mean, what we're trying to do in our research is, can we get in there early? Because we really can't cure Alzheimer's disease. So we have drugs that can slow it down. And so if we can get index when somebody's at risk for it and get them to the doctor and start to intervene with that therapeutically. But as somebody starts to become demented, you still want to show them love. Everybody can still feel that and benefit from that. That lowers your cortisol and your stress, and anything that gets you in that rest and restoration is good for you. It's good for your brain. It's good for your body.
Wonderful. I just want to touch on that because my nana, she has Alzheimer's, and when I was in Bermuda recently, I obviously go have a conversation with her, and we were having this grand old conversation, and my aunt, I realized she was behind me and she was trying to get my attention because I'm listening to my nana is just telling me the story about these folks. Yes, we grew up with them up in Happy Valley, and so my aunt's behind saying, like, basically telling me, she's not telling, she's just telling a story. But for me, it was the most alert I had seen in a while, and I was enjoying the conversation, so I'm just letting her go, and I felt good. I honestly felt so good leaving her that day, but it hit me later like, wow, she really just had a conversation and none of what she said was accurate, but I felt good that she looked good and was just having a grand old. And I mean, is that a bad thing?
No, that was a wonderful thing. What's the point in correcting and causing stress and criticizing? We know that criticism affects health outcome and makes it poor health outcome. So we called it expressed emotion. And you gave a wonderful expressed emotion, not the bad kind. And so your grandmother was having a great time and laughing and joking and telling stories. Who cares if it's not true? My grandfather also passed away with Alzheimer's disease. And he used to call my sisters and I, he didn't remember us anymore, the nice ladies. And that's who we were to him. And so, yeah, just show them love and support.
Yeah, one last question before you go. Tamara McHale's asking, their long-term memory is good, but short-term bad. Why is that?
So what happens when, I don't want to nerd out too much. So what's happening when somebody becomes demented is that they're no longer in the present. And so that's the chemistry actually that I study. And what happens is they can't take in information anymore from the present. And so they're stuck in the past. And so when short-term memory is taking things from the present, storing it and packaging it up to your long-term memory. So they have that doesn't go away. And what you find is they go further and further and further into the past. And so my grandfather, when he was experiencing Alzheimer's, he could remember my father and my grandmother. And he could talk about the president of when he was living in the States. But he just didn't remember me and my sisters anymore. But that was fine. He's still charming and funny and a wonderful person.
Dr. Eve DeRosa, thank you so much. I really love doing this show for conversations like this. I really do. And please don't be a stranger. There's so much more we can talk about, more data we can discuss, and so on. So we'd love to have you back on in the future. But before you go, if there's anyone that maybe wants to get in touch with you to maybe come and speak to a school or anything, how can they get in touch with you?
They can contact me at Cornell, and if you just put my name in Cornell, you'll find my email address. So I'm happy to do that. And I want to apologize to Sencha, who had to miss her nail appointment today. So
no worries.
Oh, no worries.
Thank you so much. Honestly, we appreciate having you. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll be in touch going forward.
Wonderful. You too.
All right. Dr. Eve DeRosa, folks, if you found that conversation helpful, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share that conversation. That was some good information, Sancha. We're going to take a break, come back, wrap it up, and give our final thoughts. Oh, Daily Play too. You don't want to miss this one. It's things you should know. Stick with us.
I should know.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Dr. Eve DeRosa of Cornell University. Very, very good conversation, Sancha. Thanks again to One Communications, Lindo's Medicals, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these kind of conversations. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sancha.
I'm ready.
All righty, here we go.
I should know.
Here's the question, folks. Things that we should know. All right. Let me look at the answer first. I didn't know the answer.
I was just going to say, do you know it?
No, I admitted yesterday I didn't know the answer either. All right, here we go. What comprises the layer in the stratosphere that protects us from the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation?
So the ozone layer.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Oh.
Yes, the ozone. Wow, Tamara got it fast. She everybody got it.
I thought it was a trick question. Look, I was trying to say, so we're talking about the ozone layer and what is it comprised of?
look who else got it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's the ozone layer. I honestly didn't know that, folks. So yeah, I wouldn't have thought it. You think I paid attention in classes like this? You think I read books like this? Whatever. Everyone got it. You all are showing off now. You don't have to make me feel less than, all right? But no, what comprises the layer in the stratosphere that protects us from the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation? I wouldn't have said anything. I just didn't know, but the ozone layer was it. Sherry, you're just being rude at this point. Things you should know, Jamel. Yeah, whatever. And Tamara told me I was a hot nerd. Yeah, I can tell. Gee, getting that like that fast. Look,
I know common knowledge, but okay.
Oh, that's what you're doing. That's what you do. All right. I mean, whatever. The only ozone I remember is that nightclub down Front Street that time. Remember that club?
Yeah, but I'm yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. Don't judge me, you all. Do not judge me.
You know what, Jamal? You know lots of facts. So I listen.
Yeah, forgive me for getting this one, you know.
All one.
Yeah, I'm allowed one, right? Let's wrap it up though. Our discussion, social media, and then a very awesome conversation with Dr. Eve DeRosa.
Social media. I love that we went through all the points this morning. Things we should not do. And I hope people take heed to those. It's a few things that, I thought about a little bit and just putting it out there. Like people should know I'm an employer and I have tons of people that, we look to hire. And I do look on social media. And it's been times where I'm just like, I don't know, this is questionable. And it's made me question that person. Speaking to Dr. DeRosa today, she wealth of knowledge. That oral health piece, I think is a big piece. I hope we're all, I have always recently have taken an interest into the vagus nerve because I had some stuff going on, and just to hear her explain those things. And we need to take care of ourselves so that we can avoid or not, just be better when it comes to the brain. So as she said, taking care of your whole body results to taking care of your brain.
Yeah. I agree. Social media, I'll just put it very short like this, to be more responsible. I saw someone say it years ago. Just because you think it doesn't mean you need to tweet it. And there's so much I want to say. I mean, just the other day, I was like, people are really starved for attention that they're making videos of how to make popcorn. Like, it's just crazy to me I think what she said, Dr. Eve DeRosa, social media about it being isolation was one of the key comments today, and it tied into the conversation we had earlier. I think mentally it is broken society. And during that presentation I did a couple of years ago, is there are ways to get the best out of social media, the most out of social media, but you don't have to be on social media every day. And the best example I can give people, everyone's starved for attention to feed an ego, or they lacking something they lacked growing up, right? Think of that $1 million company. That $1 million company probably post one thing once a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get 2,000 people engaging. Sometimes they get 2 people engaging. Social media does not determine your success, your life, or your money, no matter how many people engage with you. If you want to see how much of an influence you have, don't worry about if 500 people liked your photo. Start a business and see if 500 people spend $1 with you. As far as Dr. Eve DeRosa, I can't thank her enough. The information, I must say, we have a lot of sound bites, and I just really hope that this audience encourages people to take heed. Listen to what she was saying. You mentioned oral health, right? I can't tell you how much I don't like the dentist, but you bet your boots I'm paying for dental. I see them every 6 months. It was every 4 months till I realized, okay, stop getting every 4 months. You're overdoing it. But do you know and I'm proud to say this, 41 years old, 3 weeks ago, my latest visit, again, still no cavity. Thank you. Yep. But that said, but I had a male hygienist. I've never had a male hygienist. Very interesting.
Nice.
But he had the audacity to ask me, Sancha. The audacity to ask me, after I was done, my x-rays, everything. Do you want a goodie bag, sir? Yeah, damn right. I'm traveling. Give me my toothpaste and my floss. Come on, I'm traveling. Of course, I want a goodie bag. But anyway, folks,
goodie bags.
It all ties in, and the truth is, there is enough information out there where we can all do better. So let's take care of our family, our friends. And one thing she said that I have to do a better job of is, hey, check on family and friends. Have a conversation. I don't like being on the phone. I feel like WhatsApp's enough, but social media is isolation, and we have to do a better job. And that's something that I aim to do better. And I can be honest, I failed at connecting more with family and friends. Sancha, any daily inspiration for us before we head off for the weekend?
Yes, your purpose in life is to find your purpose and give your whole heart and soul to it. That's by Buddha.
I like that one. Folks, don't forget, you can hit up Jamal Hartman on YouTube or jamalhartman.com. I'll be having a very personal conversation with Rashida Godwin. She's been on this show from Titan Tours on Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Bermuda time. You want to check that out. Her journey from corporate to entrepreneurial freedom, and freedom, a risk, because what she's doing as an entrepreneur is risky. It's risky. So check that out. And make sure you subscribe to our website, follow us on social media, stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, Medical One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you on Monday. She's Sancha Durham. I'm Jamal Hartman. Folks, like, share, hit that what's that button called? That notification button. I'm Jamal Hartman. Make it a great and safe weekend, folks. We are out. Peace.